Hi, it's John and Tanya from ruralgardener.co.uk. One of the more popular posts that we have on the website is about our wildlife pond and how to build your own natural wildlife pond and stream. And here we are a year on. This pond's starting to really settle down now. As you can see, the bank areas around the side have all grown back in. Some of the plants, the grasses that we planted originally have now really taken off. And are starting to grow away really well. And the little area over here where all the stones and pebbles are is teeming with tadpoles. You won't be able to see them, but I might shoot another frame in a moment, a bit closer. But as you can see, I think it was about April last year when we first started the project, and it's really simple to do. If you ever thought about building your own wildlife pond, it really is a case of trying to create a nice big deep hole, minimum of 3 feet deep ideally, and also being able to make it as big as you possibly can, because that way you'll be able to keep the water fairly clear. Small ponds with small amounts of water can tend to stagnate and be slightly more difficult to look after, but this pond is about 3 metres long. Actually it's probably a bit more than that. It's about 4 or 5 metres long and about 3 metres across, and it settled down quite quickly. After about 2 months it started to clear. We started to see some wildlife come in. We've seen frogs and slow worms, and we've also seen a grass snake, and of course the birds just love it. We get all sorts of visitors. The pheasants come in and drink from it, the blue tits and woodpeckers and all sorts of native British birds, goldfinches, etc. just seem to love it, in particular the stream. Probably because it's nice and shallow, there's lots of stones, and they can bathe in there quite easily. As you can see, some of the plants that we planted, this water buttercup, have grown away really well. They seem to be enjoying it. I didn't do anything other than put some fairly regular soil into the banks on the slopes of the liner, and then planted my plants inside that liner, and they seem to have grown away really well. As you can see over here, we've got some nettles growing. I leave those because the butterflies will love the nettles, and also it's great cover for things like the grass snakes and slow worms. They'll hide away in there. And we've also put that little branch inside there because the birds come down and perch on that branch before they dive in for a wash or whatever. We've got a lily there, a small lily. Didn't flower last year. I don't think it did. I think this is the first year. We're hoping it's going to flower, which will be fantastic. It's good to get a balance of plants inside your pond. Inside the pond we've actually got some oxygenators, and that plus the lily and 1 or 2 of the other plants. You see some water mint down here. We'll take out all the sort of nasty nutrients, the nasty bits and pieces out of the pond, and keep it clear. So it's good to have a good balance of plants. It's good to have several plants. In particular, as I say, the oxygenators, which you can simply buy a branch. Buy a couple of plants from your local pond supplier, and you literally only need about 3 or 4 sprigs of those, and then tie them round, tie a stone to them, and then just lob them in, and they'll float to the bottom, and then they'll very quickly root, and then they grow away as well. And we literally had about 2 or 3 to begin with, and I'd say probably about a quarter of the pond now is full of the stuff. So I'm thinking that the balance seems to be right on the pond. We haven't done anything else. We don't use pond clear or anything like that. We seem to have just got the right amount of plants and also the right amount of sunshine and sunlight on it. I'll just walk over here a bit actually, because the second part of the pond project was to build this little natural stream, which was done in much the same way. Excavate the soil away, and then create a sort of undulating bank into which we put a typical pond liner, some rubber pond liners that you can get from most pond suppliers. But before we put the rubber lining down, much like the pond, before we put the rubber lining down on the stream, we actually put some underlay underneath it, just to stop all the stones from coming through and piercing the liner. We're in Hampshire here, rural Hampshire in the UK, and down here we seem to have an abundance of flints and stones as well as chalk. So it was really important that we got a good thick layer of underlay underneath it. So the water's pumped to the end there, right to the very end, via a pipe underneath pretty much where I'm standing right now, and it's circulated from the pump, which is just down inside there, and the pipe is buried underneath the soil, as I say, where I'm sitting right now, and it's fed all the way back to the end there, where it just recycles, the water falls away down the stream, and then it's recycled back again in a big loop. As you can see, the sides of the banks again have naturalised really well. And this is only a year on, because what we've done is we haven't interfered with it too much. We haven't tried to, we haven't put loads of compost in there. We haven't put loads of nutrients in there. We put the odd grass plant in there, and there are some other plants which will probably come through as the spring and summer moves on. But as you can see, it naturalises itself really well. Nature's amazing like that. It just seems to find a way. And again, by the abundance of wildlife that we get here, it works really well. Total cost, I think the pump was around about £120. The liner itself actually were offcuts that I had from the pond, and the gravel, I just bought a cheap bag of gravel from a local builder's merchant. I think there's about 2 or 3 bags in there, and they were something in the region of £2 to £3 each. So all told, I think to get the stream, if you take into account the pump, it was around about £150 altogether. But the pleasure we get from it is absolutely amazing. As I think I said on the blog, make sure you get a qualified electrician to actually wire up the pump. Our pump at the moment is running off an extension cable, which we have to then unplug every night and take it inside. So it's not ideal, but we will get it. Hooked up to the mains at some point this summer. But hopefully that gives you an idea of how the ponds come together. If you haven't got a pond of your own and you've got space, or you'd like to do something like this, give it a go. It's really simple. I think I've made one pond before in my life, but nature will always give you a helping hand. So although it may look a little bit of a mess when you first start and when you first finish it, once it grows, a year on, as you can see, it's absolutely beautiful and attracts all sorts of wildlife. So there we are, there's an update. If you want the details of how we actually made the pond, you find them in the blog post at ruralgardener.co.uk. Hope you enjoy. Thanks. Bye for now.